Hello, Ben here with Service Six Sigma. Are joining our live stream early to watch our pre-reels that we have on our live stream, and then we will start our show at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you.
He's a dentist. So as a service business, one thing that we can do to increase our revenue and increase the value of our customers is increase the amount of times that we service them. So window cleaning is really good at this. Carpet cleaning is usually pretty good at this. Pressure washing, depending on where you're at, could be challenging. But think about, I wrote dentist there, right? So think about it when you go to the dentist or you go to get your hair cut. When you're leaving that service as you're paying or before you pay, before you walk out of there, what are they doing? They're booking your next appointment.
John Carmazon teaches valuable insights into selling service bundles to customers. To watch the whole episode, visit www.service6sigma.com.
Back in June of 01, someone left me unconscious on the side of the road in a hit and run motor wreck. I lost my career in IT. I lost my savings. I lost a photographic memory. I was messed up. Fast forward a little ways to July of 2002. I have an eviction notice from our apartment. I have turned my BMW into the bank. I'm waiting on Italy to make parts for my Ducati. I am 2 weeks out of a full shoulder surgery. I'm in an isolation brace, a neck brace, and a morphine pump surgically implanted in my shoulder. I call up one of my buddies and I say, "Hey, will you come over and shake my couch out for me?" He laughs. He comes over. He shakes my couch out. I grab all of the change off the floor and ask him to run me to a dollar store. I buy a bottle of awesome window cleaner, the cheap stuff, and a roll of paper towels. I also buy an empty squirt bottle so I can water down the LA Awesome window cleaner. The next day, I shove my sling just full of paper towels and I hook the bottle of window cleaner on my belt hoop, and I start walking down the road, going business to business, just simply stating, "Hello, my name's Brian. I'm poor, I'm hungry. I'd really like to eat tonight. May I clean your windows?"
Learn what happened next in Brian Hoyt's amazing and inspiring life story at service6sigma.com. We have many guests that we have on our show. Be part of a growing community of guest speakers and share your professional insight in the mobile service industry. Welcome to a free live stream built around 6 sectors. This live stream created for mobile service professionals. We would like to introduce you to your hosts, Ben Bergloff and Perry Tate. Welcome to Service Six Sigma, your live stream for mobile service professionals. We want to thank you for joining our show today. Please stand by as our show is about to start. Thank you.
Boom!
Welcome.
It's Monday. How are you, Benji?
Oh, not too bad. How are you?
Mighty fine, mighty fine. It's Tuesday here. It's a lovely day. I'm living in the future. Hey, let's cut to the chase. Today we've got the man, the myth, and the legend, Mr. Josetti. And he's going to be joining us in Service Six. And we're going to be talking about the power of the orgs. You know, of course, his passion is PWNA. And it's going to be great. And we go back a long way. And then I'm just going to say that Service Six Sigma is for all mobile contractors. It's a great, we've got close to 50 podcasts already, and some of the leading authorities in the industry for a meander through the personal and professional lives, looking for little gems that you, the viewer, the listener in the podcast realm, can take out of it, something, and take it home and apply it, or at least muse about it. Okay, so without any further ado, I shall introduce him personally, Mr. Bo Josetti.
Well, hello there, Perry. You know, it's been way too long since you and I have been together.
I know.
And you know, a lot has changed. You've missed out on a lot.
I know.
5-6 years now, something like that.
Yes, it's got to be 5. It's got to be 5 because COVID took out 3 or 4 years, right? There was no travel. We were locked in China. You were locked in America a little bit. You know, we were locked more, you know. So that kind of took that out. And then in that time, Harrison comes to me and he goes, hey, you know, I need to self-actualize a bit. Like everywhere we go, like it's where's Perry? Because we did everything together, you know. So
yeah.
He said, I want to do this. So I went to Vietnam. Well, first I worked from home and then I'd go in on Fridays.
Yeah.
Here he is.
Yeah. No, I also said that you need to enjoy your life.
Yes,
there's a big part of this that it's not just about what I want to do for me.
No. True.
Hey, the whole
He said,
80% was about you to say, hey, you've worked your ass off for 12, 14 years and you deserve to like enjoy some of your life. You know?
Yes.
Well, and
So
you know, Harrison, it was all about you in Nashville, you know, back in August.
Yeah.
Okay, as we took the tour there, and you know, we'll leave it at that. But you were like, okay, here's the card, here's the reach it card. Let's go have a few rounds and a few shots, and we did.
Yeah, we had some. What are those called? Something picklebacks. Picklebacks. Oh my God, they were
too
terrible.
Way too many of those. Yes, correct.
Goodness me.
A good night.
Oh yeah, I don't know whether it was Bo or somebody else, but he said like, you know, going out with Harrison is just like going out with you. Was that you, Bo, or was it somebody else?
I did not say that. That is
right.
Absolutely not.
That is incorrect.
No.
Well, we do know how to party. There's no doubt about that. And Harrison's the best of them.
I ended up really not seeing clearly, stealing a bachelorette party's pink cowboy hat and riding a bull. I saw the video the next day and I can't watch it.
I remember. Oh boy. Yep.
It was like the shortest bull ride in history, right? You sent me the video. Yeah.
No.
Classic. So then I moved to Vietnam to get away. Also, you know, to enjoy some life. I got to see a beachfront property there, like rented, and then started the journey. Bought a couple of BMW motorbikes, and then Harrison would come over, and a couple of friends would come over, and so we didn't have to rent any bikes. We had the BMWs, so we did a couple of motorbike trips. We've still got them. So if you ever want to ride a bike in Vietnam, I've got to work out what to do with Ollie. Maybe Harrison will come and look after Ollie and I'll go motorbike riding.
Listen,
I can do that.
I'm not coming over there till you come back over here for at least one event of some sort.
Invite him to the huge. Invite him to the huge.
Harrison's coming back for the huge, that's for sure. I'll see what I can do. But I said, Harrison, I said to Bo, like we'll run a convention in Thailand. We'll get. I'm opening a company here, which is first going to be a representative office. Then I'm going to build a window cleaning truck, like a little 1-tonner, not a big truck. And then I'm going to start opening, you know, doing some window cleaning and pressure washing. And
so are you yourself going to get out there and start cleaning windows again?
I love cleaning windows, Bo. I love it. I can't even go and do a demo without finishing the building, can I, Harrison?
No, it's so annoying. It's so. I'll just clean this window, and then the next hour he goes, okay, we got to go, and he goes, no, like they don't want these clean. We haven't even talked to them. We're just cleaning a just random building. He's like, we can't just clean a little bit. We have to finish it.
Yeah, when we make videos and stuff like that, I can't leave a job undone.
Yeah,
even if I didn't get paid.
And you know, Perry, there's something. It's very gratifying, and I was listening to you interviewing Raymond last week, and I'm kind of in the same position. Circumstances play out, and I am now kind of starting something new in a different territory. I
Oh,
mean,
really?
well, yes. So,
You
I
sold
mean,
your pressure washing business?
I did not sell. I have
Right.
not sold, but I'll just come right out.
Yep.
You had a very good relationship with Meg. Meg and I are now divorced. We've been
Oh,
divorced
wow.
for almost 3 years now. So we've separated the company into two territories, and I've taken over one of the territories as my own. And I decided to get
Right.
out there and just work it. For the first time in
Nice.
10 years, I'm out in the
Yep.
field, working it, and I'm enjoying it, and it's giving me a whole new
See?
perspective, and it's very soothing, and I mean, I remember now why I started doing it
Yep.
way back when, because it was peaceful, right? Now
Yes.
that's not going to last very long, and Raymond will only last so long with running the big, the jobs that he does, and he's very
Yep.
good at that. But it's kind of necessary, and I'm loving it to a certain degree, and it's kind of a revamping of my professional career, so to speak, along with some other. I mean, I'm doing consulting, and obviously the PWNA has been one of my babies for almost 10 years now. 2015, I got on the board of directors there, and it's opened up a
Yeah.
lot of opportunities and doors for me, and created a lot
Yeah.
of relationships with some of the top people in the industry. So I'm kind of quasi starting all over again, while I still own the portion with Meg, and she and
Yep.
my oldest son, they run that together, and I run
Nice.
a different territory, and it's all good. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, this is how life goes, right? It's got twists and turns. There's no doubt about that,
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so then I went to so I want anyway. So Harrison wanted me to enjoy my life. I wanted him to self-actualize without me being always there, right? So then I went to Vietnam for a year, and we did that, and then Ollie's mum said, okay, I agreed for Ollie to get the international education, so he can go to Thailand rather than Vietnam, because Thailand's better developed. And so I said, okay, I'll move to Thailand, and then Ollie moved over. So now he's going to an international school, and it's only 4 hours away from the factory. So Harrison pops over, once every 6 weeks or something, and spends a week or two with us. And then Mum and Grandma's just been and gone and all that. So we've got, and she's going to stay working for another 2 or 3 years, I guess, something like that, and then we'll see what happens. I've never lived with her, you know that. I've never. So now she's talking about moving in, and I go, "Oh, that'll be uncomfortable."
You have a unique life and lifestyle, that's for sure. Let's just leave it at that. Yeah.
Yes, but I do. I mean, I've got this family thing going. It's working well. Everybody's happy. That's the key. Family is still family. That's what I think. Yeah. So tell me more about Harrison and Nashville.
No, we'll leave that. We can't do that on
there. It was a good night.
How did you find the PWNA?
Actually, so Meg found the PWNA, or they actually found us. I remember it was back in, because I started doing this 30 years ago. And until about 2013, I was self-taught. I just kind of, I had no training. It was all, trial and error stuff. And I remember very specifically one of our competitors in with the big boy at the time. We had moved to the beach in 2002, and this is about 2010. And this guy just started coming at me, in our company, you know, claiming all this nonsense because he didn't like the fact that we were making some headway, and started accusing us of doing this, that, and the other things that were not true. And I remember saying to Meg, you know, I think it's time for me to go figure out what I don't know. I want to know what I don't know. And right around then, she started getting involved in the business, because I told her, I said, if we're going to take this to the next level, you have to get involved and help me do this. And she's very smart with a business degree. Yep. So she did. She started getting involved and got online. I was not a Facebook online guy at all. And she started, you know, looking into what's out there, and stumbled across some PWNA stuff, some of the old boards, some of the old message boards, and started paying attention to it. And I remember Allison Hester from eClean magazine reached out to us. Yep. Okay. And then all of a sudden now Meg mentions the PWNA to me, and it's like 2012 or whatever it was, 2013. And I had no idea what it was. And she said, let's look into this. So we did. So 2013, we went to our first convention down in Orlando.
No way.
It was very clear to me very quickly that I had some things to offer based on my experience. Basically, you know, 15 years of almost 20 years of experience that I had taught myself and trial and error type of things. And then it just kind of blossomed from there. And she got involved with online or the Facebook stuff. And all of a sudden I'm being asked, you know, to do this, that, and the other. And then we're on Allison from eClean puts us on the cover of her magazine. Our company.
Wow.
I still got the 2015. This is 2015. It was like a snowball effect. 2015, we're on the cover of eClean magazine. I become a board of director, and we go and do a HOA property management class at the huge convention in Washington, D.C. for Thad Eckhoff. It was all the same year. And it just, and from there, it just went. So, yeah.
You know, I've been talking to Benji. Like, Benji's never been to any convention. And on one of the other podcasts, it came up that you can join BNI or Rotary or Lions or whatever, like get involved in the community. And he's just joined BNI. And I said to him, like, don't go into BNI to get anything. Go into BNI to give something, And I think you could probably say a word or two about that, because it seems like that's exactly what you did,
Well, and that's how that is how it got started. So I went to a convention to get something. I wanted to get that training. I wanted to get that knowledge. And back then, and I'll just say it really, I mean, back then the education was not that good, necessarily. I mean, it was okay depending upon what you were looking at. But I went.
iPhones weren't that good either. You know what I mean?
What's that?
iPhones weren't that good either.
No.
You know what I mean? Like it takes time for stuff to get
exactly. And there's a lot of reasons now. That was like the beginning stages of how of all the education we have today available to us all was kind of starting and evolving, and different organizations were breaking off from the PWNA. That's how the Huge got started. That's how the UAMCC got started. I mean, you got YouTube now. You can go and get all kinds of garbage on YouTube. You can go get some good stuff on YouTube. But so it all kind of started to change there, and some of the information was good, some of it was bad. But I realized, again at my first convention, one of the classes I took a house washing class and a roof cleaning class. And the roof cleaning class was being taught by one of my local competitors. And he he had introduced me in the beginning of the class as somebody of knowledge. And all of a sudden, within an hour after that class, I'm being approached and I'm being cornered because most of these conventions are 50% or more newbies.
Yes.
Brand new. They have no idea what they were doing, or they've only been in business a year or two. And immediately, I remember calling Meg up. She was upstairs in the hotel room, and I said, I know more than 95% of the people here. Okay. And here I came to learn about what was happening. And now today it's a whole different story with, when we talk about compliance and washing things and having cleaning standards based on manufacturers' recommendations and understanding those things and safety and everything else. It's a completely different world, even from then. But at that time I said, you know what? And then I went and I went to the bar. Okay. And did the networking thing, which is probably one of the most important things you can do with these things. Forget about the class.
Exactly.
Go do the networking thing. And I met the some of the board of directors, and I basically said, hey, I have something to offer, and give back. I'll give back. And I've been doing that now for almost 10 years. And that's what the people don't realize. These organizations, we don't get paid. These are not paid positions. These are volunteer positions. We do it out of the kindness of our heart, based on the fact that we're giving back to an industry that's created a lifestyle and a living for us. And because we want to elevate the standards for the industry. So it's not a glamorous thing necessarily, because it takes a lot of time. It costs you money. You don't get paid, and it actually costs you money to do it.
I think it's very difficult for people to grasp, what goes into making an industry an industry. It's not just, there's a whole lot of people out there who do pressure washing, power washing, soft washing, roof cleaning, window cleaning. That is not an industry. The industry is how much structure is sitting around the industry, and people that come in and just do pressure washing, power washing, as they become in as newbies, they're inheriting, the net effect of all of that, isn't it?
Well, and to me, and I like to actually rephrase it and call it something else now. Like we're with the introduction of soft washing, which is basically an accumulation of the requirements or standards of the manufacturers of everything that we wash. We're not pressure washing anymore. In some cases we are, but for the most part, we are now what I like to term exterior cleaning professionals.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because it's knowing, the right pressures and the wrong pressures, and the soaps and chemicals and everything else, and the combination of all of that. Because the high pressure that's like, I've even considered changing the name of my company. My company name is All Clean Power Washing.
Right.
To this day, I still have people that call up. Well, you're going to soft wash, correct? Yes, we are. We are going to soft wash.
Oh, so even the customer is becoming aware of it. Yeah.
Oh, they absolutely are, because they go and Google it now. They go online.
Right.
They will they'll call the office, and they'll ask, okay, you're going to soft wash. You're not pressure washing. Now they'll still call and say, hey, I want my house pressure washed, but then they'll say, hey, we want to make sure you're going to soft wash it. So exterior cleaning professionals is what we are.
Yeah. That's what I totally agree with that, because it's there. Let me ask you this question: where do you reckon the future is with the EPA on stormwater, grey water, blah blah blah? Like the wash off from adding water and chemicals and detergents and all that. Where are they going to end up on that?
Well, we're going to end up being enforced a lot more than we are now. So the Clean Water Act is what it is, and it basically says that you cannot, send any wash water down any storm drain, regardless of whether it's in residential community or commercial or whatever it is. And for the most part, we're almost all in violation on a daily basis. You do a house wash and you rinse off the driveway and it goes down into the street, technically you're in violation. But and that's one of the beautiful things about where the PW&A is today, because we now have online training that includes almost over 30 classes. I think we have now, and it's all about, and it starts with the safety compliance from OSHA, but between OSHA, the EPA, and DOT, we've got all the classes, and it's all about compliance and directing back to making sure that we're being as safe as possible and following those guidelines. And it's only going to get worse for our industry, because the industry continues to grow. And I've got the stats on how it grows every single year. You've got anybody that's losing a job and needs something to do, they go to Home Depot, put a pressure washer in the back of their pickup truck, and now all of a sudden they're a power washing company.
Yeah.
There's a problem with in the insurance, because we have so many guys that get involved and don't know the proper cleaning procedures. But compliance, safety compliance, EPA, DOT, it's only going to continue to get more stringent and worse. And we need to pay attention to it and make sure that we're following it to it. Look, you can go on Facebook right now and look at all these guys, and I'm guilty of it as well. Every rig, every trailer, every truck, and every single one of them is a DOT violation, one way or another. And it's almost impossible not to do it. And it's not on purpose necessarily.
No, that's right. Because the thing is that if you spent all your time trying to read all the laws, and this is like letting you come off the back of this, about what the PW&A does. But, Benji runs a truck, right? He does exterior services. He's got a pressure washer. He's got window cleaning gear. He's got this, he's got that, and all that. He hasn't got time to grow his one truck business and read all the legislation from DOT, EPA, OSHA. You wouldn't get any work done. And then trying to understand whether you're compliant or not, because they've got this word and you don't know what that word means, or how they're going to enforce it, because it might be different locally here and different locally there, and all that, isn't it? So that's where you guys have got the opening, the communication, and the people who can take the time to read and interpret and challenge, and isn't it?
Well, and that's where we do that. We have, with the online classes that we have the basics of that compliance, based on, number one is safety first. Okay. And any company out there that has employees, your first obligation is to create the safest working environment for them. All right.
Yep,
based on OSHA compliance. But then you deal with the EPA stuff. And so we have an environmental class. We have a DOT class. We have multiple safety classes, for chemicals and ladder and rooftop and respirator and that kind of stuff. So we have the basics there, which are necessary, and understanding those and exercising those are very important.
Yes.
Really, they're really mandatory, but there's so many of us that don't even pay attention to it. But those kind of situations and factors are going to continue to get worse for this industry as it grows, because we're out there just spraying. I call them the chlorine cowboys, right?
Yep.
Not even thinking twice about spraying 12.5% on a vinyl sided house. And thinking, okay, well, that's okay. Well, no, it's not. It's really not, especially when you look at what the manufacturers recommend based on their maintenance and annual cleaning and their warranty, way too high.
They're just going to oxidize it, aren't they? It's just going to turn to powder.
Bleach is an oxidizer, and it's the proper use of chemicals, the proper use of and safety protocols. And oh, by the way, there are safety protocols based on DOT where we've got way too much weight and way too many chemicals together on one truck that should not
Right.
be. Okay.
Right. Yes.
That's
especially tear weight. So there's an interesting thing because now I'm going to turn to the insurance companies. And for example, we've got this little delightful series running with a guy called Paul Finster from down under Australia, and he's a vacuum he's a vacuum expert. Yeah. And he's saying that what's happening now in Australia, because they did a study of the houses that caught fire in the bushfires. Like we have a lot of bushfires, like California has been experiencing, and we have a lot of bushfires like that. And they worked out that the number of houses that caught fire that had dirty, full gutters, was, disproportionate to the ones that had empty gutters. And in the floods, when we have our equivalents of your hurricanes, then the number of houses that got flood damage through the eaves, from the gutters, was disproportionate with the number of homes that had dirty gutters. So now the insurance companies are looking at voiding insurance if the gutters were full of leaves. So maybe the enforcement of the industry will come from the insurance companies realizing, from an actuarial point of view, we can actually reduce our risk by saying, okay, the operator has to be trained, and certified, and has to have done a refresher course every 3 years, and because that reduces the total number of exposures that the insurance companies have, doesn't it?
Well, yes, and the insurance companies are already recognizing. I mean, number one, so the insurance companies are now actually recognizing the PW&A's education from a safety standpoint and from just a membership standpoint. But they're also recognizing, and they're some in carriers, and Carlos Gonzalez just and how are you, Carlos? I haven't talked to him.
Hello, Carlos.
Yeah, I love Carlos.
Yes.
Yeah, Carlos, we need to talk.
Superhero.
And he just said, do you anticipate that the industry will have an applicator license for SH in the future? I think that's very, very realistic. Okay, because think about every day, every company. I mean, like my own company, we get 600 gallons delivered every week, of bleach, of chlorine, SH, wherever you call it. At some point, this is going to be, yeah, I would say yes. To answer your question, Carlos, I believe so at some point. And those kinds of things are coming down the pike, and it's for the industry, it's for an organization like the PW&A to help fight against that kind of thing, or be part of creating those.
Yes. When you get the responsibility for it.
Be part of creating those regulations, because they're gonna happen one way or another, with or without us. But to have
this is what Robert Hinderleiter did at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Robert Hinderleiter at the beginning said,
correct,
if they start moving in this direction, we need to be in there alongside them to steer them in the reality of what it is to be a pressure washer, not let them pass a law that makes us illegal or makes us unable to do our job.
Yeah. No,
you got to be in there.
Exactly, because guess what? The bureaucrats and the government politicians, they don't understand what we know. Okay, we know it based on the experience that we have. You could take and I could sit here and mention all of them. All of the veterans in the industry that have gone through, and I'll put myself right there, trial and error of what works, what doesn't work, and we've created standards based on that. Oh, by the way, the industry or the manufacturers kind of actually agree with. You take soft washing and what the principles of soft washing actually are, and then you go and read what a vinyl siding manufacturer or another Trex decking or a decking manufacturer actually recommends based on their cleaning procedures annually and their warranty information, and they almost kind of they blend, they match. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's been something, and that wasn't necessarily, in my opinion, by design. It just kind of happened that way. All right. So,
Yep.
Yeah, this is why look, an industry without standards is not an industry at all.
Yep.
And I continue to say that, and I always will. And we need to continue to promote standards, cleaning standards, regardless of what the YouTube warriors and the chlorine cowboys want to believe or not. And you can go ahead and poo-poo organizations all you want, but in the end, we're dealing with it right now. The sewer out in California, they are now basically saying no more combustible engines.
Oh, your diesels and petrol.
Yeah, no more gas engines in 2028. But based on, I forget what the horsepower is, and the cost of what that is going to be for a purely battery powered power washer.
Oh,
the proposed cost is outrageous,
ridiculous.
Ridiculous. It will put more than half of the industry out of business, in my opinion, based on what I've heard. The costs are, and the PWNA is working on, and we're fighting it right now along with CETA. We're involved, and there's only so much we can do. But this kind of thing is what it's not only going to happen in California, it's going to happen in other states of in the country, and it's going to be a problem.
And I think, Bo, the bigger challenge comes when they start looking at chlorine and saying that, because chlorine is really, it's a great killer of everything, and so it's a very dangerous it's a dangerous chemical, and that's what we're dealing with. If they start saying
it's dangerous when it's not used properly. And that's really one of the biggest things. And chlorine is actually the gas. SH, sodium hypochlorite, is the liquid, right? The bleach form.
Fecal.
But and yes, it's a hazardous material, but the improper use of it is what's dangerous. And that's where the training comes in, right? And the proper training comes in on how to actually mix it correctly, apply it correctly in the ratios that we recommend based on cleaning standards that we recommend. That also, by the way, if you read a manufacturer's recommendation, you break it down, we're promoting those same ratios the right way. But you got guys, I mentioned them, and I'll continue to do it. The chlorine cowboys and YouTube warriors that will sit there and show you that they're doing a vinyl sided house with 12.5%, which is a no.
Well, as a window cleaner, our greatest enemy as a window cleaner and water fed anyway, is oxidation. When you get a plastic house and it's oxidized, then that changes everything for water fed, because if you touch any of that oxidation with your brush, it just puts a milky film all over the window. And
you'll see the difference between that touched area and the not touched area.
Yeah. So I always said to guys, like, for example, if they've got an oxidized house, from a window cleaner's point of view or a professional window cleaner's point of view, I would always say, well, you can get a sun bleached oxidation, 10, 12, 15, 20-year-old PVC house, then it's going to have some oxidation from the exposure to the sun, let's say. But that's only going to be two walls, south wall, west wall, or whatever. I think west for you guys. But if the whole house is oxidized, that's bleach. If the north wall is oxidized, that's bleach.
Yep, that would be correct. Right?
But a professional window cleaner, if he can see that the north wall is not oxidized, he can have a different technique for the south wall, maybe the west wall, depending on with what cover it's got, and he can just deal with that slowly and painfully, and then uses water fed on the rest of the house because it's not going to be broken down.
Yeah.
Like, it's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Polyvinyl chloride. That's what the houses are made of. Plastic houses, I call them.
Plastic. Well, hey, listen, vinyl siding is our friend. I mean, thank God for vinyl siding. It's like it's probably the most productive, financially productive surface we clean. It's almost impossible to screw up unless you're going to, screw up the oxidation on one side by getting too close or putting too hot of a mix on and not rinsing enough. But a vinyl sided community, I take that over just about any other surface. Absolutely.
Is it the whole of America that's got PVC clad homes, or is it certain areas are more than others?
No, we've got a lot of them here. I mean, specifically the East Coast. A lot of the West Coast has more, let's call it stucco surfaces. I think dry kind of surfaces. The East Coast is loaded with the vinyl siding. And again, if you were to give me, then we've got hardy plank too, which is very popular at the beach areas, which is one of the areas that my company operates in. And we wash literally millions of square feet of that every single year. It's similar to vinyl, but it's actually a painted finish. And you have to be a little more careful with it. And there's been issues.
And it also oxidizes, doesn't it? If you hit it too hot. Yeah. Absolutely. And so does stucco, by the way. Stucco, all of them do.
Yeah.
They all break down and become a disaster for a window cleaner.
Yeah.
Poor window cleaner. Do you know, Bo, it's a chemical question, but you know me, I get deep into this stuff, but do you know if you've used chlorine on the side of a house and you, in a sense, neutralize it at the end of the job, and I'm saying, okay, it's not chlorine gas, it's the liquid, but what does it turn into? When you wash it off, what does it?
So bleach breaks down into oxygen, water, and salt.
Sodium chloride.
Yeah. And the salt is what does the damage. So anytime you have an issue, yes, specifically when it comes to plants or grass or that kind of stuff. But it's really the salt that does.
So they've been hit with brine basically if you haven't diluted it sufficiently.
Now again, what you mix with it, all right. And this is where you have problems. And you can go on Facebook and you can see this a lot with some of the new guys that don't quite understand. If you mix heavy degreasers as your house wash mix, right? And you don't rinse enough, and you've got an oxidized southern exposure, right?
Yep.
You've got the little weep holes on a vinyl sided house, and you haven't rinsed enough, and you shot too much pressure upwards, and now you've left, and you're done with the job, and you've got the drips coming down. So now you've got a little bit of soap that's got a degreaser, which is going to remove oxidation. So now you've got all these drip marks all over the place. And that's going to dry like that. Next day, you're getting a call from the homeowner. We got this problem. Well, now you've got oxidation removal on
in order to make it look the same. You got to remove all oxidation.
You're washing that entire side all over again and scrubbing it probably, and using an oxidation removal chemical, a heavier degreaser. So it's all about process, and it's all about, again, mixing ratios. I can't emphasize that enough. The mixing ratios, not making too hot of a soap or chemical that you're using.
And is this I only know because I don't follow everything, but I know Tim Aselton came up with a proportionate, possibly originally. But is that has that made a big change to the industry? Because everybody's got one now. I know that.
It
dial-up
absolutely
system.
changed. Yes, it absolutely changed because everybody's got one, and they've copied it and made it work. And a proportioning system, whatever you want to call it, is because it allows you to identify and calculate what that mixing ratio is going to be, and not guess. Right.
And follow your training. Yeah,
exactly. So you can still be guessing what your downstream capabilities are based on what that downstream injector is doing, and not knowing what the ratios are of that injector. Where with the check valve system of the proportioning process, where you're dialed in, and you basically know, unless you've got a faulty check valve that's not proportioning correctly.
Yeah. Oh joy. If you have one of those. So where do you think? Well, no, let's go here. Like, if somebody's who's the target market for joining PWNA 2024? Who out there should be 100% in membership?
So it's basically everybody. Given the fact that we now have a online educational platform second to none, nobody else has got what we have.
Right.
It's you can't even dispute that, and the classes have been created by the top veterans in the industry. They have been validated, based on EPA, OSHA, and DOT compliance, all of them. They all refer back to what the cleaning standards are based on the manufacturers of the surfaces we're cleaning. Okay.
Yep.
And when it comes to the safety aspect of it, we now have what we call the enterprise program, which is any company can come in and train all of their employees, unlimited training of they can have access to every single class we provide.
Wow.
$99.
There you go, right?
$99 a month. And that includes all the safety classes, okay, which we make a priority to achieve any kind of certification through the PWNA. You've got to have the safety classes first. That has been one of the most valuable things we've provided to the industry. And I think we've got over 150 companies now on the enterprise program.
Nice.
And
that means that they can have staff turn without it costing them. They don't have a pay per head.
They can take 10 employees, train them on 30 classes over and over and over again for that year, or pay up front for a discounted rate. But $99 a month, it's a no-brainer. I mean, come on. Especially when you're talking about, forget about all the other stuff. The safety aspect of it, number one, for me, is the best thing.
Oh God, yes. I mean,
if we only had safety and nothing else, it'd be worth it, in my opinion.
Yes. I was talking to Kirk Kempton the other day. He's such a beautiful man, and but in the old days when he had 5-star window cleaning, he developed, and he talks about it in the podcast, he developed a program where he basically gamified education. And that's not a bad consideration for the PWNA to create a model for that, because what he would do is he'd say every month his staff, for example, had to read a book, and then they had to get so many reviews, and they had to get, maybe, in this case, complete an online education program. And then as a result of that, if they ticked, 3 boxes, got 3 stars, they got a little, they were a 1-star employee, then they were a 2-star employee, then they were a 3-star, and he had a little badges, I think, made. And, but he really kind of gamified it. And you can see in almost everything in modern life, based on iPhones and iPads and computers and stuff like that, the next generation are gamified. Whatever you download, you get you get an Apple Watch and you get a little badge. Oh, you've exercised 10,000 steps 7 days in a row. Ding, this little badge of false. And it's not our generation, but it is the worker generation.
Yeah, well, he's
no,
an innovator.
no business has got the time to. It's the same as I was saying before. No business has got the time to create a gamification for their poor employees. But possibly, talking with Kurt, because he's done all the thinking. It's possibly something you could say. Well, here's a model on how to gamify their education, their referrals, their uniform, cleanliness, returning the vehicle at the end of the week in perfect condition. There's a lot of things which every business wants their employees to do, but just being the boss and say, what the hell are you doing? Returning it, it's dirty. Why didn't you wash it before? That stuff just doesn't work. Gamification works.
Yeah, well, and he's one of the he's one of the love Kurt. I had a conference call with him 2 weeks ago actually about what he's been working on. He's an innovator right there.
Oh yeah, fast thinker. Yeah, fast thinker. And what's unique about Kurt in talking with him is that he's actually grasped the momentum of automation. He understands it. And he's teaching it and saying you don't have to have a feeling about automation. You just have to be part of automation, because everybody that gets part of automation will be more efficient than you, will be more profitable than you, or will be able to charge less than you and be as profitable as you.
Yeah, and he's one of the original guys that actually sold his company and moved into the automation standpoint of helping companies like ours become more successful. So
yeah, it's fascinating. Let's talk about the power of networking, Bo, because you and I, like if I came to the PWNA and I never met you outside, if I'd only met you formally, hi, I'm Perry, I've got a booth, hi, I'm Bo, I'm on the board of directors, we would never have know each other, would we? You would know of each other. But the networking.
Well, we would, because you and I would have met at the bar, and we would have,
that's what I mean. But that's the networking, right?
Yes.
That's where the friendships are formed, and that's where the respect is gained, and that's where the sharing and fro.
To me, really, the most important part of any event, whether it's a small, little round table or the huge convention, whatever it is, the networking is probably the number one thing you take away from it. I'll give an example. You could go sit with somebody at one of these events. It's got the same kind of company you do, and you can have have a few drinks, cocktails, whatever it is, and talk about business and talk about things, and you'll get really an unfiltered version or description of their process, because you're not a direct competitor, right? And you kind of just naturally loosened up, and you start talking and you get into it, and you'll get some nuggets, that we call it, from those conversations. And then you'll get their contact information, and then you've got a friend. Like I have a Rolodex of people, obviously, in the industry, based on my position. Now I've been a little more involved than most, but I have people from in this industry from all over the country I can call right now and get
all over the world, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, look at you, right?
Here I am in Thailand. Yeah,
exactly. So you just broadened my whole Rolodex right there. So all over the world, I can say it now.
Yeah.
And if I don't know something and I need to know something, I can make a call, right?
Yeah.
And that's those relationships are invaluable, and they've been one of the best things that we've done for the company, starting way back in 2013. And some of those people are some of my best friends in this industry now, right?
I think so. Yeah,
No,
you start
absolutely.
flipping
We
hats
had
and wearing
Raymond on
wearing
last.
blow up penises on your noggin.
Wait, Raymond and I talked to Raymond and I have been brought in on. Funny thing is, we've been both brought in on. I've been brought in on a couple of court cases as an expert witness, and Raymond and I
Wow.
have been on the opposite sides of that same court.
No way.
Oh yeah,
Oh
yeah. So,
God.
but he's one of my confidants, right?
Yeah.
I can talk to him, ask him about anything, and there's multiple people throughout the country, throughout the industry that I could call right now and get an answer of something I don't know necessarily enough about, and vice versa.
Yeah.
I get the same kind of calls.
Yeah.
Be surprised at people that call me for advice on simple stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
and you'd be like, well, wait a minute, you're 10 times more successful than I am, but you're calling me for advice. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, imagine if somebody is watching this and they don't they've never been to a convention. We say networking is the best part of it. They go, yeah, I want to do networking, but I don't know they don't know what, you know what I mean? They're virgin networkers. Is it, do you run a first time member, like sort of everybody meet in this bar if you've never networked before, and we'll get some of the old timers in with you, and we'll get you networking. You can be shy, you can be, because even people like me, I'm outspoken, but you put me in a crowd of people I don't know, I go to the corner and I just watch the room for maybe the whole night if I can't see anywhere to go to.
You
Funnily
don't go
enough.
to any corner. The only corner you go to the corner of the bar. That's what you go to.
The corner of the bar. Then there's normally somebody else there, and away I go. Yeah.
So yes, we actually we'll put together networking events, and I'm speaking in terms of a PWNA CETA Power Clean convention, where we do that specifically for the newbies, for the new people coming, whatever it is, to make sure that we interact with them. And that's actually one of the things that the PWNA, certainly way back when, that it was more of a intimate experience. Sometimes, and the huge is great, right? The huge,
Unbelievable
for a reason, but sometimes at the smaller events, you get more of that intimate experience based on it. Not everybody's going in 10 different directions, and you go to one little place within that smaller hotel. Everybody goes to the same bar.
Everybody's in the same bar. Yeah,
exactly. Or everybody goes to the networking event of that little event, and it's planned.
You get to work the room. Yeah, you get to work the room
absolutely.
rather than wonder which. So if you go to the Gaylord, you go like, I don't know which bar to go to. I don't know where the people are. Where are the big boys? Where are the little boys?
I've been there twice now. The first time 2 years ago, I got lost. I had to get directions back to my room. That's how big that Gaylord is.
That place is so big.
It's the biggest hotel in the country. I literally had to get directions back to my room the first day I was there.
Wow. Yeah, that's massive. It's a lot of fun, but it's a
it's great time.
But yeah. So
I would encourage everybody, if you can get to a huge convention, get to it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
You get to a small round table, get to it. You learn. I still myself will learn something at an event that I'm going and I'm teaching at. Like I'll sit and listen and have conversations with people, and I'll still learn something.
Well, Bo, I think that in the let's say whether we can use all the terms for God, but we all have a need at any time, right? And if we are out and mixing with people of like mind, or amongst where there are people of like mind, your need may be an adjustment of your personal attitude to maximize your business, or an adjustment of your professional technique to maximize your business, or your structures or systems or software or whatever, but there's there's a, sometimes what we talk about at the bar is actually how I am as a person, isn't it? There's a lot of personal talk goes on at the bar when you're networking. And so somebody could be adjusting and saying, well, I'm scared to get a second truck. And somebody goes, I was scared to get a second truck. Then I realized that I shouldn't let being scared of getting a second truck be the reason I don't have a second truck. You know what I mean? That those kind of conversations happen.
And that's a great point, because so many times, and I've learned this, the hard way and the easy way. It's not about changing a process necessarily or a technique within your company. It's about changing your mind and how you think about how you're doing or approaching business or approaching or relationships or whatever it is. Because the only way you're going to make any real changes is to change how you think about it. Forget about all the rest of it. If you can't change the way you're thinking, then you're not going to really make any real changes at all.
Yeah, and it's very difficult to be your own doctor. You know that? The doctor can't step off his own foot, right?
Absolutely. Listen, given my situation here, I've got people that I confide in that are much smarter than me, better business people, and I need their inspiration. I need their advice on certain things.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty smart guy, but I can be stubborn when it comes to business stuff and thinking that this is the way to do it. But opening your mind and again changing how you think about what you're going to be doing. You have to open your mind up and bring that advice in from people that you might not even like or don't agree with on how they're doing things, but taking a nugget, just one nugget.
The nugget is the seed. Yeah,
exactly right there.
Yeah. I know Chris Honey said, you can take 6 weeks to think about something or click your finger and get it done. And the background to that is that sometimes when we're growing up, we might have been influenced to believe that a fast decision is a bad decision. But a fast decision is not a bad decision. It's an uneducated decision that's a bad decision. Like if you can get a load of information very, very quickly from credible sources, challenge the source, right? It's not your chlorine cowboys, But if you can get a lot of information very quickly, you can get to a very fast decision. And then as I say to Harrison, be decisive. Kurt Kempton was going, be intentional. That word has come up quite often in our podcasts. Be intentional, be decisive, make a decision. And then I always say to Harrison, whatever decision you make today, if in any time in the future, what could be tomorrow, you find new information which makes you aware that that's not the best decision for the direction that you want to go, you can be decisive, be intentional, and make a new decision tomorrow without feeling that you made the wrong decision today, because it's the assumptions and the education that sit behind the decision. If you've got well-formed assumptions and well-formed information, you've gathered good information, you make a decision, that's a good decision. Tomorrow, somebody comes along and gives you new information which changes those, you make a better decision tomorrow. But don't not make decisions. Don't not take actions, because then you're floundering, isn't it?
Yeah, correct. And I'm guilty of that. I can sit there and be indecisive for fear of making that wrong decision, right?
Yeah.
And I think we all are and can be.
Yeah. They're very, very much inbred into us by our parents or whatever, whoever. I don't know.
But at the same time, I'm a little bit of I can be a little bit of a maverick and an entrepreneur where I'll take the chances. Calculated decisions are what I'm all about now.
Yes.
So, yeah.
There was a guy, I met this guy who was a multimillionaire, maybe in my 20s. And I said to him, I don't know what I was doing, but maybe I was selling an accounting system. And anyway, but I asked him, what's his process? Like, how did he get rich? And he said, well, my process is very simple. He said, I weigh up the worst that can go wrong with this decision, and I determine whether I can afford that to happen. And if I can afford that to happen, I then consider what are the rewards of making the decision, the potential rewards of making the decision. And I can, if the rewards are there, I can proceed because I already know I can suffer the loss, right? Because quite often it's the fear of, it's the legitimate fear of loss or the awareness of loss or the awareness of impact of loss, which actually is holding us back. But so most of us don't calculate that and say, I can handle that. Never lend a friend any more than what you're prepared to lose. Never make a decision in your business where the potential for loss is greater than what you can bear, the business can bear, that kind of thinking.
Yeah. Agreed.
Deep.
Well, yeah. Well, you're a deep kind of person. So, yeah. Hey, listen, if Carlos is still on here, I don't know if you can see if he is or not.
I can't.
I'd like to know if he's going to do Cabo again. That
I
would be
agree.
a place. Okay.
I could bring the boys to Cabo.
If he does Cabo this year, well, I think it might be a little too late to do it this year, but he better do it soon. If he does,
I agree.
You better make it, okay? Because we're going to do that again. We're going to do.
We're going to do the flip the hat. I think, or we invite Carlos to Thailand and I sort it out. I sort out the venue and the gas station.
I know he is up for that kind of stuff because he's done the traveling and he's got his product in I think 15 different countries, right?
Yeah.
And he's talked about bringing training overseas.
Yep.
So why don't you start working on that Thailand thing now?
I will. I'll work with him. I could become his agent here, I think, because I'm semi-retired. Harrison's cracking the whip on Reach It.
Yeah, I'll take care of Harrison. You just keep sending him to the States. I'll take care of him. You start working on the stuff in Thailand.
Yeah, I think we'll get a Thailand convention. We'll and then we can go. Do you scuba?
I have never done it, but Carlos does.
Yeah, Carlos does. So we're going to do the Similan Islands. I'm going up next week. I'm actually going for a 5-day liverboard with Ollie. I'm taking him out of school for it. And then that's going to be up to 20 dives. I don't think we'll do 20, but 20 dives. And the Similan Islands, they say, is the best of Thailand. So we'll be able to get – this is me baiting Carlos if he's still listening, right?
Well, I'm calling him tomorrow. I haven't talked to him.
Okay, you do that. Yeah, you do that.
I'm definitely going to call him and
say, okay, put the pressure on Perry. Perry's got the time. Perry's got the time.
Well, now you've said it. You've got the time. So we're going to make sure.
I got to get back, bro. I got to get back. That's I was always going to try and run one in China, because China's so fascinating and so amazing and so mind-boggling. If you thought Tucker Carlson, was blown away with Moscow, right? If you go to Shanghai, it's just another level again. I'm sure. I haven't been to Moscow, so I can't promise it, but it's like 27 million people in harmony. Just tick, 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 tick. It's a different way of living. It's not the same lifestyle, but it's an unbelievable experience. But anyway, that didn't happen. So now Thailand's tourism. It's sunshine.
Well, I'm up for the travel, so yeah. And
I've got a spare room, by the way. Seriously, if you want to just bolt for a week and come over, I've got a spare room.
Oh, just bolt for a week. Okay.
Yeah.
We could do that.
Hey, life is, they tell me life is short, it's, you got to cram a whole lot of shit into it to make it really, to make it a good memory,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. What's on the plans for PWNA for 2024-25? You say PWNA CETA, right? So do you always hyphenate slash them or?
Well, when it comes to our convention, yes. So we're still under contract with CETA until 2025. This year in 2024, we're going to be in Orlando, November 1st through the 3rd. So that's the plan for us. PWNA will show up also to the huge convention, and we'll have a presence there. We always do stuff with the IWCA. I remember years ago, you and I hanging out, wee hours of the morning, and you were talking about how the safety program with the IWCA and where it had gone, and that's where we are now as a PWNA.
Yeah, that's right. I do remember that conversation.
And I remember you saying that very, very vividly on how they had gotten, basically their OSHA relationship. And I said to myself, you know what? We need to do the same thing. We basically have. Michael Draper is the owner of Expert Safety Services, and he is our compliance director for the PWNA. And he reviews every single class we put out, makes sure that we are, basically pointing back to the compliance from OSHA, EPA, DOT. And it's been one of the best things we've done. It just solidifies what we're presenting to our members and making sure it's no nonsense, right?
Yeah. What do you reckon is the biggest mistake that the average highly intentional, I'm not talking about the chlorine cowboy, but the intentional guy who's a professional cleaner, what is the biggest mistake he's probably making in his business right now that he doesn't know he's making?
The biggest mistake.
Let's go one by one. Let's go OSHA, DOT. I've got my idea for DOT, and then EPA. I think DOT is not carrying MSDS, because you've got to have that available in the glove box or somewhere in the cab of the car about what chemicals are on your truck, right?
Somewhere within reach of the driver, okay?
Within reach of the driver, yeah.
You need to be within reach of the driver from a seat-belted position.
Wow.
Yeah, that's those basic.
Can you imagine if you move that to put your Starbucks in, and then you get pulled over,
Well, listen, it's all fun and games until you have an accident, right?
Right.
Getting pulled over is one thing. My company has been pulled over by DOT several times over the last 10 years. Not one time did they ask us for an SDS sheet. Now, I will tell you that your last guest, Raymond Burke, had the unfortunate incident a few years ago of one of his employees in trucks having a fatal accident. Okay. And I was right there with him when he got the call. I mean, literally we were at the huge, and he got the phone call from somebody on the street that watched the accident and called the number on the truck, and one of his employees died. And
wow.
The accident brought on an investigation by DOT, OSHA, Workman's Comp, and everything else. And Raymond, he passed all the inspections because he had proper documentation, not only with the SDS sheets, but the maintenance of that vehicle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everything across the board. And he would openly talk to you about it right now if he was on here. So, basically making sure that you are documenting the safety training, to me, is probably the most important. Again, because we as business owners have an obligation to provide the safest working environment. Plain and simple. It's not like being a one-man operation. And what I used to do years ago, the things that I did on ladders, and there is no way I would expect an employee to do. It would be a violation, a compliance violation, to do so. But the safest working environment for all these companies that have, and I don't care if it's one employee or 100 employees, because OSHA is real. And OSHA showed up to one of my jobs years ago, People don't think that there's actually, OSHA people out there. No, they're out there, and they will violate you. And it's not about the fine. It's about making sure that your employees are going home safe at the end of the day.
And I think I know you talk about the employees, Bo, but I think that at the end of the day, you look at somebody who's one-man band, and that in some states you can be up to 4 people before you need workers' comp and stuff like that. And you go, it's not about that. You should value a human's life and their health as much as your own, and therefore the place to start is you. You should be the one who's the most compliant person, because your life is the most valuable for your family, but also for your employees. Like you go get yourself out of action, and then your employees have got a problem, And then if you master and perfect it when you're a one-man band, when you go to replicate, it's in your DNA to give them safety. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Isn't it? Right? You shouldn't separate yourself. You should be the example, and you should value your life and your health. You shouldn't be passing it off and saying, well, they can't, this is the point, like they can't fine me. It's not about the fine. It's about, it's like riding a motorbike without a helmet. Like, duh, you only need the helmet when something goes wrong.
Right.
You don't need a helmet to ride a motorbike. You need a helmet to survive a crash. And being safe is the same as that. You only need to be safe if something goes wrong. You can't imagine that nothing will go wrong and think that you're actually right. Shit happens, stuff goes wrong.
Right. You're right. Shit happens. And I'm guilty of what you just said, because I would go, and if, we had a situation that we couldn't get done without me doing it, and I would go do it. And that wasn't necessarily.
Oh, right. So you couldn't use an employee to do it. It was breach the safety.
Yeah. And I'd be like, you know what? Because I can. And
yes.
So I'm guilty of that. But and I've done some crazy things on to this day I still can't believe I'm here.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. Okay. So DOT, do you agree? Probably MSDS is one of them.
Oh,
the easiest mistakes.
Yeah, your SDS sheets are imperative. Okay, so I've actually gone and taken a hazmat course of shipping, transporting, and receiving of hazardous material, and that is probably one of the biggest things that we don't think about, because we don't think about it. But when you have bleach and acid right next to each other in a situation on a vehicle, okay, technically you're not supposed to do that or have that.
What happens when they mix?
You got mustard gas. You got big time problems. Those two materials cannot mix. Okay, and in the course of an accident, they would.
Yes, exactly that.
So there are so many things like that that we don't think about until it's too late. And I'll tell you this: I was contacted this past summer by one of our vendors that you would know, and they had a DOT just walked into their, and this is a provider of chlorine equipment and everything else. DOT just walked in and said, okay, this, that, the other, you're in violation. I'm giving you a warning right now. And oh, by the way, your industry is on our radar because you're all in violation. That was basically the premise of the conversation. And this guy was straight from Washington, DC, from DOT.
Wow.
And
flew
said,
down.
What? The power washing industry has got a rude awakening. That's what they basically said. So
wow. So what's the proper way to carry? If you've got chlorine and acid, should they be in metal separated compartments?
They should be separated. They should not be next. Specifically, I'm not going to. I can't.
Yeah, you can't give the advice. Yeah,
what it is.
Yeah,
but there are different levels of how much, like bleach or SH, there's materials of trade levels, and there are different levels that 1,000 pounds or more, you have to have a hazmat endorsement. You got to have a placard that shows what you have on that vehicle, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter.
Otherwise, the fire is dying, right? That's the point.
It doesn't matter if it's
the fireman and the ambulance.
It could be that full of a little bit of bleach left over, and you're still have to deal with it. There's so much, and some of these rigs are. You have these water tanks, right? And I've got 2 water trucks.
Yep.
You need tanker endorsements for anything over 1,000 gallons of water, and the weight limits are so violated on so many of these trailers specifically.
Right.
I just see it and it's like, it's
That's so scary because there's so many. Anyway, okay, so weight limits on trailers. Okay, let's go to EPA. What do you reckon from an EPA point of view? What thing are guys mostly doing wrong that they could rectify quickly?
Well, from an EPA standpoint, it's all about where is that wash water going?
Right.
Is
where should it go? Where do they want it to go?
Well, they don't want it going in a storm sewer. Sanitary sewer is a different story.
Okay.
Depending upon what you're doing, commercially, you can redirect it and maintain it and disperse it on the property, into the grass or landscaping or whatever it is, but making sure that it's not going off property and not going into a storm sewer is
wow.
Water recovery, we don't do enough of it as an industry. We don't.
Okay. All right. Water recovery, we'll talk about that. And then the other one is OSHA. What do you reckon is the number one thing that you reckon most guys are doing that they shouldn't do?
Getting up on the roofs without being tied off.
Right. Straight up.
And displaying that on your Facebook page on your website. Okay.
Yeah.
And again, even if you are the owner, because OSHA does not have any jurisdiction over you as an owner. They manage the relationship between the employee and the company, but the insurance companies don't want to see that either, regardless of whether you're covered for it or not in your insurance plan coverage. They still don't want to see it. So a lot of what we do and what we try to do, especially when it comes to cleaning a roof, is eliminate as much of that roof access as possible.
Yes. Well, yes.
And don't post it. And don't post it.
What do you think is the best? So obviously harness is probably the best, right? From a roof safety point of view.
Yes.
Is there what about the other devices? Is there any other devices that you guys are sort of introducing people to? Can I say it that way?
For what?
The steps, those steps that hook on the apex and you can step up the roof.
There's different things like that. Michael Draper would be the best one to answer those specific question like that. But ladder and
Michael down is.
Ladder and rooftop safety are probably the 2 biggest safety items, in my opinion, other than the chemical safety, which is the proper mixing of chemicals and making sure you're not mixing an acid with a bleach and creating, it's happened. One of my guys did it years ago, and we got lucky. So
Well, there was a guy I saw that. Which
means proper labeling of your
yes Yes, doesn't it?
Especially if you have the employees. The proper labeling of those containers to make sure that that accident does not happen.
Yes. And also, I think that sometimes checklists, because sometimes we forget that Monday morning when we do our training of our staff is a very different cognitive experience when you compare it to Friday afternoon, midsummer, and the guy's been 5 days, 10 hours working, dehydrated, and has to make a decision to mix a little bit more, and he's just, like, that brain is not the same brain as Monday morning at training.
Well, that depends upon the employee. The Monday morning blues has always been an issue.
Oh, true.
You get that Monday.
I forgot about that.
That one employee that was doing a full weekend of nonstop, and then Monday morning they come in and they're worse off than they were.
Yeah, they could be worse than Friday afternoon. Yeah. Okay, I submit to that one.
And they're broke and looking to borrow money.
Oh no! Oh no! All right. So I think we've got. I mean, I so hope that everybody joins as many. Here's the other one. Is probably this: is that you can join an org and you can join many orgs, and there's probably no harm. Obviously, it's budgetary and it's time and all that, but there's no harm in being a member of other orgs. Each org has its own USP. PWNA has the best training, let's say, at your recommendation. And so if somebody's a member of another org, or certainly if they've never belonged to an org, then, get involved here, for the benefits which PWNA bring, isn't it?
Be involved in all of them, whether they're for-profit, non-profit, whatever it is. And it's all about what you put into it. Being a member of an organization, if you're just going to sit back and not work it, you're not going to
it's JFK stuff, right? Don't think what your organization can do for you. Think what you can do for your organization. Yeah, you reap what you sow. If you're a giver, you get given to. If you're a taker, you get taken from. Yeah. Fantastic. All right, buddy. We're close to an hour and a half. Is there anything else you want to say?
I think we pretty much covered it. Get your ass over here to the States. I don't want to hear any more excuses. All right.
This is the stubborn side of you coming over. I'm going to run Thailand for Carlos.
Yeah, get the Thailand convention underway.
Yeah, I'll do that. Carlos, I'll do the
right people. We'll get Carlos.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you be the recruiter, and Carlos will be the deliverer, and I'll be the organizer.
There you go.
That's it. That's going to be amazing.
Yep.
All righty.
I look forward to having drinks with Harrison on the Reach It card at the Hughes.
Yes.
And unless you're there.
I remember some of those ones where they run huge networking and they just free drinks, like anybody who turned up almost. I mean, some of those drink bills at some of the ones that I've been to must have been absolutely huge.
Yeah,
we never had that much money.
A few big ones in the past. I was there for them.
Yeah. Great. All right, that'll be fine. Very, very happy to have you, Bo. You are the man, the myth, and the legend. And I really, my personal takeaway is the realization, which I had no awareness of, is that you got into the PWNA and you saw immediately that you should be giving to it. And then you've given to it so significantly, all the way to being president for several years. What are we, 2 years or 3 years? There's this term, isn't there?
It was 3 years. 3
years, yeah. And you did that. And then to realize, because I had no idea that you guys did all of that voluntarily, I thought that it must have had some sort of compensation. But, that's a huge amount of your life that you've committed to the industry. And, may it have its dividends, here and after,
Yeah.
And thank you, sir. It's good.
Well,
good. And you're such a super dude as well.
Don't tell anybody then.
We're going to go fishing too, I suppose, don't we?
Well,
we're going to do fishing.
Yeah. Well, you can come to my place and go fishing, or we can go to Cabo and go fishing. So it's up to you.
I'll work it out. I'm prepared to put the time in to make an event here, so I can keep Ollie. I don't have the problem with, what to do with Ollie.
We can
if
fish
I do
in
it here.
Thailand also.
Yeah. We'll find fish. All right, champion. Thank you very much. Benji, are you there? Benji! We're done.
All right.
Benji sits in the background and just makes it all happen. Are there any other comments? I should check this, Ben. Are there any comments that you wanted to pop up while we're in Jabba mode?
Nope. Chris is definitely right. When you mix fluid with SH, it ignites.
Ooh. Wow. I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of things you don't want to mix with SH.
Hey, who did you do your hazmat course with, Bo?
I did it. So it was a government grant, and I'm forgetting the name of the guy, but this guy is like the encyclopedia of DOT, OSHA, and EPA compliance. I mean, he makes my brain hurt when I talk to him, because I've actually talked to him about doing a DOT class for me to present to the WNA and just me in general. But this guy lives, eats, breathes compliance, and it was like it was like calculus, and back.
Wow.
It was ridiculous. For 3 days I was there, 8 hours a day, and my brain hurt.
Wow.
It's
wow.
amazing. Yeah.
Well, that's the way I see it. I mean, the industry, just step by step, and get in there. The thing is that if people get in with the PWNA, they will, by the nature of being a member of the PWNA, understand the direction that the government departments and the insurance companies are moving in, and then get ahead of them. Don't be behind them, and certainly don't get caught by them after they've legislated legislation you don't even know changed.
Correct.
Yep. So that's got to be another big takeaway. What does it cost for an annual membership, Bo?
Well,
Can you remember?
Yeah, you can do a $350 membership for 1 year. That does not include all the classes, or you can do $99 a month and have all.
And you become enterprise.
Year enterprise program, and you get everything, including a one pass to the convention.
Oh wow! Okay, well that's a deal.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous deal.
Yeah. Yep. Well, let's promote it. We will mention it in our future podcasts, my friend.
There you go. Yeah.
Brilliant. All right, mate. Fantastic. Thank you for coming. Thank you for having me. I was going to say.
Well, thank you. I'm glad I was able to get on, actually, after the confusion of not being able to get on. So.
Yeah. Where are you? You look like state of the art.
I am. No, I'm in a little bunker. Hidden dungeon, undisclosed area. I've got a new partner here with me.
Okay.
Potential business partner. We're trying to solve all the problems of the power washing industry, the universe. Yep.
The universe. Great.
Here we are.
All right. Well, you get back at that and solve the world's problems, and we'll carry on. And much appreciated, Bo. Can we have you back on one day?
Absolutely. You just say when.
Okay, bud. Perfect. Love it.
Right.
Okay. Have a great evening.
All right.
And Benji's going to hit the. Do you want to hang around afterwards? If
Thank
you
you
do,
for
we
watching
stay.
or listening to another Service Six Sigma podcast. If you enjoyed the content, please like and share it with other mobile service contractors.
We live stream daily, Monday to Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. All previous podcasts are available for viewing at service6sigma.com. And for listening on your favorite podcast channel, just search Service 6 Sigma. See you next time, and you have an epic day.